Hi guys, I'm Trainer Dan, and today we're going to be looking at the Single Arm Dumbbell Row, in particular I call it kind of core positioning, which optimizes its function as an exercise, because we're not just going to be actively working through on the back, but we're going to try and displace as much weight as possible through the core, which actually further engages the back. So it's quite an effective exercise that is going to be almost a bit of a challenge to set up into position, but once you've mastered it and you can feel the benefits of it, you will really get on well with this and you'll see really good results. Now, when you're working with this technique, you've got to actively engage with the movement, because if you just go to sleep and you're just trying to move your arm, it's not going to work and you'll just fall into bad posture and bad technique, which is just reducing its effect. So I really want you to work hard at actively engaging yourself with this posture and being aware as you go through your exercises of your positioning, and don't go to sleep with it, because we want the maximum benefits. So I'm gonna demonstrate first of all without even hitting the dumbbell, just to show you a few things and also some bad postures that we want to avoid. Okay, so if you haven't done it before, we've got one knee on the bench and we've got one hand at the front. If you have done it before, I'm going to show you through with positioning with your leg and sort of arm, so that we've got a nice sort of neutral spine, but we're going to work even with that, okay, with our sort of chest positioning. So we're kind of prop forwards like so. That is your absolute basics there. And we're producing, you could almost say, I like to think of it as when you're producing a plank position, we're trying to transition weight through the core. And I want that to be a factor that you take away with you when you incorporate this exercise. I don't want you to just think back, I want you to think core. And when I'm saying core, we've obviously got the core system at the front, we've got the deep core, which is the transab, but we've also got the core which runs through the back, infraspinatus, etc. Okay, so be mindful of that, and getting this posture and feeling where it's coming from will help your muscles work much more effectively, because your body is going to actually work hard to stabilize you in the position so that you can contract effectively, and that is what we want. Okay, so we're down into position here, okay, and I like to get a nice sort of lean into it, so I've got this flat kind of posture, and immediately I can feel that weight transitioning through the core. I might even show you this side so you can see my leg position. I think that would be better for you. So instead of being sat back and taking up this weight, where most people end up going, they'll sit back onto this leg and then they'll just haul the weight up. Now don't get me wrong, we're still going to get a nice contraction through the back doing that, and sometimes that can be useful if we're perhaps doing a strength, just pure brute strength, and you want to lift some weight. You can do that. I'm not saying it's completely wrong, I'm just saying it's not as effective as this. Okay, this is a better way of working it. So we don't want to be sat back here rowing it out. Position forward, so you can see I've stepped it forwards there. Now I've changed the alignment of my leg, and then I've got my weight down in here, okay, and it stops me now leaning over. It's very hard for me to lean over this way, whereas when I'm back here, I can start to lean my body over, and I don't want that to happen. I need it in a position where I'm just nice and stable, okay? So this is kind of the first action to kind of go through. We're producing a nice posture here, and you will feel that immediately through the core. Now, the more weight I then transition forwards this way, the greater you're going to start to feel through the core, okay? Now, dependent on the strength of your core, you may need to start just a tiny bit further back to get your range of movement and to be able to actively work with it. But as you get stronger, really try and push forwards into it so that you can engage that core fully, because you're going to feel that then through that infraspinatus once you're set up. Now, from here, okay, once we've got that dumbbell, we've got to actively work this upper body. We don't want to be flat down. You see, I've just let everything go. Now I've got minimal action through the core because I've just literally dropped everything down. There's a tendency then to sort of overstretch here, and then when you're going through your range of movement, you'll kind of burn out and you can't get that full kind of contraction through your back that you need. So I always say sort of engage up. And now if you look what I've done there, I'm not flat, I'm actually straightening my posture up into it, trying to give myself a nice level back. So rather than lean, I'm leveled up. Again, I can feel a lot stronger core engagement. If I just push forward slightly, I'm really in the core now. Chest out, okay? Keep that head nice and neutral. And then as I work up through the arm, I've got that shoulder lifting back through it whilst maintaining this solid posture here, okay? So I'm pulling up, keeping that elbow nice and tight in, shoulders back, chest out, and then I can feel that through my back. I'm aware of it contracting through my back, even without any weight on, okay? And that is just down to positioning. It may mean, if you've done this before, that you have to drop your weights a little bit because it's going to greater isolate the area, okay? So I'll show you on this side without the weight, and then I'll show you with the weight, okay? So positioning, I'm down and I'm forwards. Also, if you have a look at my toe there, it forces me to kind of roll up onto my toe. And that's because I'm tipping my body forwards to try and engage this core. If you're just flat down, I'm sat back into this leg again. And so all I'm doing is I'm really not transitioning through the core. I'm still going to feel it through the lats, and I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying to be more effective, we need this roll forwards so we can really help the body support and engage through all of your core system, okay? And don't be arch backed. So you can go forward. Can you see what I've done there? Okay, I've just let my bum drop forwards and I'm all arched. And that also tends to happen when we're here. People tend to just arch the back. We don't want that. We want that engagement with that neutral spine, which you've actively got to put into position. Get that chest out, and I'll show you on this side. So there's my chest out. I'm not relaxed down. I'm up into position, okay? Head neutral. From there, I'm going to lift the shoulders back with it. Lift all the way up. Keep that up there, and then down, okay? Ready again. Look at my shoulders coming back with it. My shoulders are moving up with it. Elbow right back, and then down, all right? Now, this is important, and that is with the row, you think of it as a pulling exercise, which you're not wrong. You are pulling that dumbbell up into the side, okay? But I like to get, and I think about this myself when I'm training, because I'm trying to engage my back, and especially when you start to fatigue, your body's always going to transition onto kind of the strongest muscle area or supporting muscle area as you start to fatigue through it. And your body will want a great assistance of the brachialis. Now it's going to work anyway, just through that positioning, okay? But if I think pull, I can end up being short. I'm now no longer actively engaging. Can you see how I'm not working my posture anymore and it's just coming up through the arm? I'm a little bit short with it, okay? If I imagine, instead of the pull, I imagine that I am pushing my elbow. That makes sense. I say this with all back exercises. Imagine you're starting the movement here. I know you're looking at the camera going, what are you on about? Bear with me. Imagine that instead of me pulling, think, right, there's something on my elbow, I'm going to push my elbow upwards, okay? And when I do that, all I'm going to be mindful of is this push, which kind of changes the dynamic of the movement. It prevents me from just simply pulling with the hand and being short. It enables me to get this shoulder back, okay, chest out, so I can really get a good contraction through the back. So let's work it with the dumbbell now, okay? So I'm in position, so you should have identified already, that's a bad position, okay? I'm not going to say bad, it's just not the technique that I want. You can do this if you wish, if you're hunking lots of weight and stuff like that. But for the position I want you step forwards, okay? And grab your dumbbell, we're up and engaged. It's up to you if you want to take your thumbs on or off. I tend to keep my thumbs off because I feel as if I don't engage, again, the brachialis as much with my thumb off. That's just me. I'm weird. It doesn't matter. Okay? So tip forwards into it. Nice posture. Really be mindful of where you are with it. Get that weight forwards into this arm. Make sure that back leg's in a good position. Neutral spine. Chest out. And then from there, I'm pushing the elbow up and then dropping down. Okay? I'm pushing the elbow up, focusing on it, keeping that chest out and back, lifting that shoulder up as I go up. Shoulder right up, lift it through, and then down. And you should feel a real great engagement in the back when you're going through that range of movement. It might take a bit of practice because you might not have done it in this manner before, and you may have to drop your weights down a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would always rather you go for sensation over just, oh, I can lift this much weight. Well, you can lift this much weight, but are you hitting the targeted area? And there was something else I wanted to say, and I think that was, don't be in a position where you are, I've said about overstretching, I don't want you being in a position where you're having to tip your body over that way to try and make the position. That's very bad. And with this core position, you'll find it very hard to do that anyway. So practice it before you go on to especially any of my workouts. So if you do any online workouts with me, practice this positioning first. Even watch this video again and go through the positioning as I've gone through the positioning and practice it out. Practice it without a weight, practice it with a very light weight, and then find a weight that is going to be suitable for you where you can feel it fully engaged before you then move on to a really good workout. Enjoy. Trainer Dan.